Like this video? Why not subscribe? Today on MH News, we're getting professional camera dolly shots for only $5. Welcome to MH News, everyone. I'm your host, Matt Haslam. Now, we're all looking to get professional shots for our next films, but how do we get these professional shots when we're on a micro budget and we don't have the professional gear to go along with it? I've said on the program here many times, and I'll say it again. It doesn't matter whether you're shooting with a camcorder or a Red Epic Dragon camera with all the prime lenses that cost about $40,000 and up. It doesn't matter what gear you're using. So if that doesn't matter, what does? Well, what matters is the technique you use using that camera gear. So, for instance, I've seen great films made with DSLRs, and I've seen horrible films made with Red Epic Dragons. It doesn't matter, it's all about the technique. So, how do we get the professional shots? Well, how we do this is using camera movement. Now, this doesn't mean your entire 2-hour length film has to be all moving shots with camera movement. It doesn't mean that. That would look horrible. It only refers to about maybe 50% of your shots. Now, there's other types of gear that we can use for camera movement, such as Steadicams and things like that. All we're going to talk about today are camera sliders and camera dollies. Now, the main difference between a camera slider and a camera dolly is how far away your subject is from the lens. A slider is made for more close-up things, where you only have to move the camera about 36 to 48 inches in order to make that shot look great. A camera dolly is made for things farther away, where you have to move your camera several feet, if not 100 feet or more, to make that same shot look great. A great camera slider that I always use is the Revo RS850 camera slider. Now, this is only 36 inches long, but it's a terrific camera slider, and it's pretty darn lightweight if you ask me. And so I use it on a ton of different things, and I even put a strap at the ends here where there's little holes at both ends, and I strap it to my shoulder and walk through the woods or whatever I'm doing that day. And it's awfully lightweight and great little piece of gear that I use all the time. It costs about $110. And I know there's some DIY versions online, but I really don't like them because this looks a heck of a lot more professional. And first off, in real life it looks professional, and second off, it makes the shots look professional. So it's a really great slider that I use all the time. But this, again, is only for things close up to the camera, where basically if I'm right here and I'm trying to get a shot of the computer, which is right here, then I can really simply set up a slider and have it either right on the ground with little legs that come with it, or I can set it up on a tripod with a tripod here and another tripod here to make the stable shot. It doesn't work that great if you only have one tripod in the middle, so just be aware of that. But I can set it up on a tripod and put it at any height I want above about 2 feet, where the lowest my camera tripod can actually go. So I can do that. Or I can use a camera dolly for things farther away. And the camera dolly that I actually use all the time is one I built on my own for less than $5. Yes, less than $5. Now, all that's needed to make this camera dolly is some pieces of extra pipe, pieces of extra lumber you have lying around the house, and a pair of old roller skates. Yes, that's it. That's all that's required to make this. The first step in making it is deciding how far apart you want your pieces of pipe to be. And for me, I wanted this to match a piece of trussing that I have for my lighting and sound division. That way I can switch out things whenever I want. So one day on location, I might have my entire pieces of truss that goes for about 20 feet of track. And that's really great if I wanted to use my professional looking truss for a shot. Or I can switch it out with these two pieces of pipe, and I made a little jig up so that pipe can just sit in at the same width apart that my pieces of trussing can sit. And as a matter of fact, I use this to hold my pieces of trussing as well. But all this is scrap pieces of wood and a couple screws in it. That's seriously all it is. And then I'll put this at the end and put both pipes inside of here. And by the way, pieces of pipe are SS20 pipe. They're actually old pieces of top rail from an old fence. And yes, that's all they are. So if you have a neighbor or something like that that has a fence that they want torn out or something like that, go up and ask them and say, I'll tear out your fence and take the top rail for you for no charge, you know, or whatever. Now, I was lucky enough that my dad actually owns a fence company, so I kind of got this pipe for free, and I know it's SS20 pipe because of that. Otherwise, I would have no idea. But this is actually a really strong material to make your entire track out of, because it has really thick walls in it, meaning basically you can put a lot of weight on this without bending that pipe down. So that's great. But then after I lay down the track on these two jigs that I made up, the next thing to worry about is the actual dolly itself. And as you can see, this looks pretty DIY, but it works really great. It doesn't matter what's behind the camera, it only matters what's in front of it. Remember that. Some people, when you show up on set, will say, hey, this doesn't look that great. Are you sure you can get a professional shot using this? And typically what I'll do is I'll actually show them a piece of footage, or I'll just say to them, hey, you saw my demo reel or something like that, and you like that. That's how I get those shots. Remember that. It doesn't matter what's behind the camera, you know? Become a sponsor and see your ad in a future episode. If you live in Pennsylvania and you need fence in chain link, plastic, aluminum, wood, split rail, bumper post, or if you need small household repairs or electrical work completed, hop on over to haslamfence.com or give Gene a call at 570-544-3136. He looks forward to fencing you in. Now, as you can see, all this is two pieces of wood right here with a pair of old roller skates attached to it. And I set them up that way. A pair of roller skates would be facing down and another would be facing across. And this is similar to a roller coaster if you actually look at the body of a roller coaster. The only thing missing from this is the wheels on the bottom to keep the entire cart from lifting upwards. And the only reason they do that on a roller coaster is because of G-forces and the fact that the roller coaster goes upside down. Now, I don't think you're going to be taking this upside down, so I don't think you have that same worry. But basically all you need is these on the side here to make sure the entire thing keeps on track and it doesn't shift off and break all your camera gear. So that's basically the underneath of this thing, with some bolts here that I tightened to a point where the wheels still turn, but they're tight enough that they're not going to fall off. On the top here, there's actually this little tray that I made using, again, some pieces of old lumber that I had lying around. And this what this allows is for you to have your tripod in here in any configuration you want. Anywhere you want to have this tripod and your legs, it simply can just be put in there and no worries at all. A lot of different designs I found online have only one spot right here that has a hole in it or something like that that keeps that leg right there, but then you really can't move it around much, and you don't have that many options of where you can put it on that cart. So I wanted to have options, and that's kind of what I came up with to do that. But now I can put my camera tripod in here, or I have the option of putting something else entirely on top of this and putting my tripod on top of that. For many of the shots I get, I always put my tripod right inside here, and it's good enough. And what I found with this thing is to always keep your hands as low as possible on the tripod legs to make sure it's stable, and to always put a sandbag or two inside of the legs on this cart to make sure that tripod stays down at all points. Now, another thing I do all the time for whenever I want a longer shot, or if I want to raise my camera tripod above the minimum height it has, which is about here, and I know you can't see that, but if I want to raise it above that, what I always do is I put just an extra cart I have lying around from moving my equipment in and out of different places and just around the house use. I'll put that cart on top of here like so, and this way I can get longer shots, I can have a wider base for my camera to sit in, so on and so forth. And I can even sit on this thing if I wanted to control the camera and to follow focus with someone else pushing me, and that all makes a big difference. And though this thing looks pretty DIY and doesn't look that great behind the camera, it really has some great features that make great shots in the end. And anyone that really judges my equipment for what it looks like really should see the demo or something like that, or any of the film that I actually put out there because it looks really good in the end. And the shots I get with this thing look really professional. And just proving you don't need $1,000 camera dolly when you can do it for less than $5. Now for me, all I needed to buy was some roller skate wheels from an old pair of roller skates at a yard sale for $4. The rest was just lumber I had lying around the house, and my dad had some extra pipe lying around from having his fence company, so it was pretty darn cheap for me. You can replace this pipe with some PVC pipe you find at the hardware store, and that would take your entire cost up to about $10. Still, it's only 10 bucks. And you can buy a piece of plywood or something like that, and that might take your cost up to maybe $20, I'm going to say. So again, it's not that terribly expensive if you don't have some scrap lumber lying around. But you can generally just find something in your shop or something like that. Now at the end of today's episode, you're going to find some example footage we shot earlier today using this camera dolly. And from that footage, you can judge whether or not you want to build your own. Now, I've always said it helps to watch other designs and maybe pick and choose different aspects from many different designs to make one that fits your needs. This camera dolly works perfectly for us and our needs, but it won't work perfectly for everyone. So maybe pick and choose some aspects of different designs that other people have and make your own to fit your needs. Again, yours isn't going to be perfect for everyone. It probably won't be perfect for our needs either if we built the same design you did. So I suggest getting lots of different information before you go out and build your own. And on the blog post, we'll actually leave different videos that we found helpful in building this one. And you can see some extra aspects to different designs that we didn't choose to put in ours, but you can find those aspects in the other two videos on the blog post. So go check it out. And that's our camera dolly that we built for less than $5. So go out and shoot and have some fun, and remember, it doesn't matter what the cost of your equipment is, it only matters the techniques behind using them. So thanks for joining us today, and see us next time. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. Go to mhnews.info for more episodes, or to become a sponsor and see your ad in a future episode.